So continuing with the pretest from question 13, when we're adding radicals together, most people get the first part right. The 3 add 5 is 8, but then they add the 2 and the 2 together to get 4. Really we're just saying how many radical 2's do we add there. So we add the coefficients together, but not the radicals together. So a very common mistake for that question. Radical 11 take away 3 radical 11. If there's no number in front, we know that it's 1. So 1 take away 3 is negative 2. And then once again, it's radical 11. We're not doing 11 take away 11 for this one. We're just saying how many radical 11s we have. I think if you relate it to this question, it's probably a little easier to see. If I said x take away 3x, I'm hoping you'd say negative 2x. You wouldn't say something like negative 2x squared, or just negative 2 because the x's cancel. And it's the same idea when we do our radicals. Now, I can't just add these two together either. I can't just say this is 10 radical 52. I can only add them if they have the same thing inside the radical. So 50 though I notice splits up. 50 I can write as radical 25 radical 2. And the square root of 25 is 5, times by 4 is 20. And now they do have the same radical, so I can add them together. So 6 add 20 is 26. What was I working with? Radical 2's, so 26 radical 2. This one I can't subtract yet because these are different radicals, so I've got to split them up. 27 is 9 and 3. Now, once I know that one of the numbers is 3, I can use that to help me work out this one. So I know 3's must go into 48, and actually it goes in 16 times. So square root of 9 is 3, square root of 16 is 4. So 3 radical 3 take away 4 radical 3 is negative 1 radical 3, or even better, just put negative radical 3. 17, square root of, and it says negative 9 here. So I haven't had any questions with negative square roots yet, and that's why. It says error. You can't actually work out the square root of a negative number, so no solution to that question. 18, similar to what we did earlier, but we're going to simplify first. 18 times 4 is 72. X cubed times x, remember there's a mystery exponent of 1 if you can't see it. So 3 add 1 is 4. And y to the 5 times y to the 3 is y to the 8, because we're adding the exponents together. I don't think we've simplified 72 earlier, so it looks like I'm going to have to do that one. The best combination is 36 and 2. If we go onto our list, 72 does not divide by 64, does not divide by 49, but it does divide by 36, so I know that's the one I want to go with. Whoops. And then the square root of 36 is 6, and radical 2 I've got to leave. As this is an even number, 4 divides by 2 perfectly, so I can just put x to the power of 2 by halving this exponent. Same with y to the 8, it halves perfectly, so I can put y to the power of 4. All the ones that don't have a square root, I'm going to bring to the front, and then the one that did have a square root goes at the end of my answer. 19, cube root of 343. So I'm going to go into my run menu again. Shift and, oops, let me get rid of that previous question. Shift and left parentheses for cube roots, 343, and that one actually works fine, it's 7. And if I had continued my list one more, I would have actually known that that one worked anyway. Okay, what else do we have? Cube root of negative 16. Now we had a cube root question a second ago, and it said error, so we might think we're going to get the same thing. Now, we don't get a whole number, so we know we can split it up, and it's not a perfect cube. But we do have an answer for this one, so there is an answer to this question. Actually, I copied down the negative of the cube root of 16, not the cube root of negative 16, so a slight difference in this question. 16, I can split into two numbers. One of them has to be a perfect cube, and there's only one number that's less than 16, which makes this a little easier, which is 8. So one number must be 8, and therefore the other number must be 2. What is the cube root of 8? 2, and then the one that we can't work out goes on the end. Negative 27, cube root of negative 27. Actually it says the negative of the cube root of negative 27. So I'm going to type it just as it appears, and it actually works just fine. The answer is 3. The reason being is negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is negative 27, and then the two negatives combine to give me a positive. 22, how many radical 7s do I have? Well, I got 1. Plus 1, take away 3, so that would be negative 1 cube root of 7, or just simply negative cube root of 7. And that actually concludes our exercise. So a lot more questions on square roots than cube roots, so they're certainly the ones that you should focus on. And notice the questions on cube roots, there's no variables in these questions either. So it's only the questions when we have square roots when you have to do variables as well. So another thing to help you while you're doing this. Make sure you know how to recreate this list, and I think that's the first thing that you should do when you actually come to do this assessment, and you won't have to keep making those same calculations over and over again.